What it do, cuckolds? It's your boy, the hater, up in this mug. And I was going to do another video about TNA and the X Division Championship specifically, but you'll have to wait on that because we got a nice little preview thing going on here. And this video is going to be about how the Elimination Chamber, Toronto, is going to completely suck balls, all right? It's not going to be a good show. Nobody could possibly care about this other than the fact that John Cena's in there. I mean, without that, it's like this would just be a throwaway show that nobody would want to watch. So first of all, we've got now the event that is more important than the Royal Rumble by virtue of the fact that the winner of this is going to main event WrestleMania. You know what I mean? So that's like another draw, but quite frankly, it's only a draw if it's John Cena, because if you ask me, you know, if like, let's say, I don't know, Seth Rollins or Drew McIntyre wins, I think Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes is just as compelling as Gunther versus Jey Uso. I put all four of those guys in the same mid-card nobody category, you know what I mean? So John Cena is the only main eventer that's competing in this pay-per-view. So that being said, we got only 4 matches, right? This is a downgrade from last year's whopping 5 matches. Remember that one WrestleMania where I think the main event was like the women's match, right? I think it was that one, right? Like, there was like 16 matches on that one night of WrestleMania, you know? Now on a pay-per-view, we get literally 1/4 of that. And I understand that this is not WrestleMania, but it's a big deal pay-per-view to have 4 matches. And I understand the Elimination Chamber matches are going to be long, but let's be real. That's not why we have 4 matches. It's not because 2 matches are going to be long as shit. It's rather obvious. We have this so that Michael Cole can remind us to buy, like, I don't know, a fucking Intuit TurboTax because tax season's coming up. Or maybe, you know what I mean, to snap into a Slim Jim or some other bull. But anyways, let's go through the 4 matches. First of all, we've got Tiff Stratton and Trish versus Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. I don't understand the logic behind this match whatsoever. Why isn't Tiffany Stratton defending it? You know what I mean? At this point, it's like the smart thing to do if you have the money in the bank, obviously, is to just cash it in, like, before the Rumble. Because once the Rumble comes along, you're not expected to defend the title at all anymore. You know? Like, Cody Rhodes doesn't do anything, motherfucks. More on that a little bit later. Then we've got the Women's Elimination Chamber match, which, as you will soon see, is chock full of jobber nobodies. We've got Liv Morgan, who has been a champion this year, so she gets a thumbs up, you know. Bianca Belair has been a tag team nobody for about a year, so nobody gives a flying fuck about her. She's a mid-carder at best. Alexa Bliss hasn't been around for a couple of years, so she's obviously, like, not a big deal at all. Then we've got Bayley. I mean, I don't remember Bayley doing anything, you know, other than the beginning of the year where she was the women's champion. But in my opinion, that was a colossal and gargantuan disaster. So who the hell cares, right? Then we've got Naomi, who will always be a mid-card nobody, and Roxanne Perez, who honestly at this point is one of the refreshing faces of this match, right? She's probably not going to win, but imagine if she does. That'd be pretty entertaining, you know? I mean, who would she wrestle? Like, Rhea Ripley? That's not a fun match. The only match here that makes sense, honestly, is Bianca Belair, because all the other girls, just like, either we've seen it or like nobody cares, you know? Like Liv Morgan, we've seen it. Alexa Bliss, nobody cares. I mean, it's just silly. Like, you know, there's a point where, like, Rhea Ripley would obviously tear her apart in 5 seconds. Like, Bianca Belair is like the only one who would have a chance in real life. So, like, you know, at least that makes sense. But the push of Bianca Belair is such that she's not going to win, obviously. You know what I mean? Like, she has bigger fish to fry with Jade Cargill, presumably, who, by the way, has had, like, literally the worst start of a WWE career of all time. Like, this is like, I mean, maybe not of all time because we still have wrestlers like Kizarny and Giovanni Vinci's recent push, but you understand what I'm saying? It's like just like a colossal failure of a push. Like, she was like drafted like number 2, you know, like during the draft 2 years ago. She's done fucking nothing since then, or like a year and a half ago rather. She's done nothing since then. So this match is a complete disaster. I don't care who wins. I think the only one that has been booked strong enough during the year to win is unfortunately Liv Morgan. But like, do we really want to see Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley continue this bull? I mean, the only benefit would be like, okay, Dominic Mysterio would be involved, and, you know, and do the things that he does best, which is just like character work. But obviously nobody is compelled by any of that shit. Then we've got, obviously, like, this is just unacceptable. Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. So when I said 4 matches, I should have said 3. This is an unsanctioned match, meaning there's not going to be a winner or a loser. The match ending is going to be they both fall off a scaffolding or something high into like a box covered with a cloth and a bunch of things that soften the landing. That's exactly what's going to happen here, and nobody should be excited about this in the slightest. This is a complete disaster. Nobody cares about this at all. You know, this is just a throwaway segment. This should be like a segment that closes like SmackDown or opens SmackDown or something like that, you know? This is not worthwhile, and I'm going to skip it in its entirety. This is just like the match that they're going to put between the chambers. You know what I mean? That's all this is. So, then we've got the obvious main event. John Cena, big match. John, can he do it? Versus CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre and versus Logan Paul, Damian Priest, and Seth Rollins. So, as usual, in these matches, we have like 3 people that have no chance of winning. Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, and of course, obviously also Logan Paul, right? That's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? It's not going to be them. But, I mean, there's always a chance now with Jey Uso being the Royal Rumble winner, but it's just unlikely, right? The more likely scenario is that the last 2 people are Cena and CM Punk, right? This is like one of the worst things about Elimination Chambers is that they always loaded with people that have no chance of winning, right? It's like, like, it'll be like Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels, John Cena, and then it'll be like Chris Masters and Carlito. Like, it's like they have no chance, you know what I mean? It's a complete waste of time. It would be like the equivalent of putting in, like, in this year, like Otis. He's not going to win. Like Ludwig Kaiser. Like, he's not going to win, It's a complete waste of time. So the only people that have a chance of winning are CM Punk and John Cena as far as I'm concerned. Now, like I said, this could go one of 2 ways. The logical way is John Cena becomes like the face of the company one last time, which is the correct thing to do because it's one last match, right? But I do feel like there hasn't been enough of John Cena to justify this from a kayfabe perspective. From a real life perspective, obviously John Cena should get whatever the fuck he wants, right? Because he's John Cena, and he's better literally than everyone else in this card combined, So there's that. But from a kayfabe perspective, he hasn't really done anything. He hasn't even had like a I'm coming for you, Cody, like promo that he typically does, So I know there's still time for that, but it just feels a little bit rushed. So I don't know. If I had to bet money, I'd go with CM Punk, unfortunately. But then that begs the question, why not just have CM Punk win the Rumble and have Jey Uso win the Elimination Chamber? That would be just as impactful, if not more, Like, it would still be like he's overcoming the odds. And, you could do something with that instead of like... Because you could do everything that he's done with Gunther now. Like, you could do this the whole time, But whatever. Let's see how this goes. The match is going to turn on whether or not the most important thing of the night, obviously, is the segment involving The Rock. Cody Rhodes is just not going to wrestle because, quite frankly, it's a pay-per-view. So Cody Rhodes wrestles every other pay-per-view at this point. You know what I mean? He wrestled at Rumble. He's not going to wrestle here. He didn't wrestle at the other one. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's hit and miss. Cody is the worst champion of all time. That goes without saying. So now we're going to have the same with him and The Rock. And I feel like depending on that, like, we're going to know what happens. So, for example, like, if Cody turns heel, which I don't think he's going to turn heel, like, Saturday. You know what I mean? That's not going to happen. He's going to turn heel at Mania if he does, right? But depending on how that program goes, like, maybe, like, if John Cena comes out during that program, like, for example, if the men's Elimination Chamber comes before that program, then John Cena can come out and be like, Cody, don't do it. Think of the children. You know what I mean? He'll do, like, the John Cena stuff, right? But otherwise, it could go either way, right? The other storyline that's brewing, and which is what gives me hope and puts it almost at 50-50 CM Punk versus Cena, is Logan Paul, right? Like, it sure as shit is looking like Logan Paul is going to be wrestling CM Punk. You know what I mean? It sure as shit looks like that, right? Now, CM Punk, like, has a favor owed to him by Roman Reigns. Now, as far as I'm concerned, nobody gives a shit about this. Everyone forgot about it already, right? Like, it's been like 2 months since Roman Reigns beat up, Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa has moved on to be a jobber now. So it's like this favor, like, if Roman Reigns said, like, I'm not honoring the favor, I completely understand. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't even be shocked. I'd be like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Like, fuck CM Punk in his favor. But if they want to do this as, like, a plot device, then it does seem like one angle would be, Roman Reigns versus Cucky at WrestleMania. And, CM Punk versus Cucky at WrestleMania. And Roman Reigns comes and pretty much, like, ruins it for Cucky, allowing CM Punk to get his victory because CM Punk made a deal with Heyman, right? That would be, like, one of the logical conclusions, This could establish Roman Reigns as a heel again if Cody's face, or obviously the better choice would be Cody turns heel before WrestleMania or during the match, and then Roman Reigns, his favorite, gets called in. But that's basically the same thing as last WrestleMania where everyone's interfering, you know? So hopefully it's just John Cena and we just get like, you know, a good versus evil match. We haven't had one of those in a while. You know, like a straight up, like John Cena, the hero of the people, versus the corrupted Cody Rhodes. That would actually be a good name, corrupted Cody Rhodes. But anyways, as you can see, this pay-per-view is nothing to look forward to. With that being said, it's like, what are we going to do on Saturday? I was looking forward to it originally because it's Elimination Chamber, one of my favorite events, you know? I really like elimination matches in general. The Royal Rumble, the Chamber, Survivor Series, you know, like, it's not a coincidence that these are like big-time matches. But anyways, the point is, now, like, one of my favorite events, once again, has been ruined by like a complete lack of a I mean, I want to say a complete lack of a mid-card, but that's just incorrect because this entire card is a mid-card, right? It's a mid-card. It's also a mid-card. You understand me? And when I say a mid-card, I mean complete garbage because none of these people belong on pay-per-view at this point. You know what I mean? Drew McIntyre hasn't won a match in like a year and a half. Like, CM Punk has wrestled 4 times in the last year. Like, which is also the same amount of times he's wrestled in the last 2 years. Seth Rollins is just trading wins and losses with like the likes of Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso and shit like that and Sami Zayn. You know, we've got all these losers, right? Like these people that are like, you know, you don't want to see them at the pay-per-view at all. You know, Logan Paul, he's wrestled 1 match in 1 year. This is like his 2nd or 3rd match, basically, since coming back. And, you know, you get my point. Like, if you take everyone in this match, Cena, CM Punk, Drew, Logan, Damian Priest, and Seth Rollins, they've probably wrestled fewer than like 35 times combined. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, right, on TV. Because Drew McIntyre has wrestled 3 or 4 times on TV. He's never on TV. If he's always bitching and moaning about something. Oh, no, someone in Scotland died. Yeah, we all have problems, bro. You know? Like, that's not part of your character and shouldn't be. But anyways, I'm not going to rant about Drew right now. That's another video for another time. But the point is, it's like none of these guys wrestled. Like, Drew was gone for like 7 months, right? It felt like it at least. CM Punk has wrestled only Drew. Right? So, like, why do they deserve a title shot, honestly? Like, it's like Drew McIntyre and CM Punk have been wrestling each other. You know? Like, when Otis and Chad Gable were wrestling each other, they didn't both qualify for the chamber match. You know? They were just like, oh, they're just jobbers. But for some reason, we're supposed to care more because the two of them are like bigger deals because they tell us they are. Even though they really aren't. But anyways, you know, nobody here has wrestled. The person that's wrestled the most here is probably Damian Priest. And I recognize Cena that I like and Logan Paul that I like also haven't wrestled. But I don't care. They are special attractions in the sense that they're both big draws, right? And Logan Paul is like, he's got like an actual career, you know? Now, I understand in the context of wrestling, nobody cares about that. But Logan Paul has a YouTube career. He has like an actual podcast with millions of views, right? Drew McIntyre doesn't do anything. This is all he does. So like, Logan Paul wrestling only 3 or 4 fewer matches than CM Punk and Drew McIntyre is unacceptable because he brings a lot more to the table. Seen as one of the GOATs. But anyways, the point is nobody here deserves the main event WrestleMania. It's just like this is all we've got, right? This isn't all we've got here, right? There's no like big name coming back except for John Cena. And if they bungle this, if they make it like CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes, like nobody wants to see that shit. You know what I'm saying? Just give me Cena versus Cody and we go from there. Now with that being said, cuckolds, this Elimination Chamber is going to be crap. My predictions are as follows. I'm going to go with, fuck it, I'm going to take a shot in the dark. I'm going to go with Cena. I'm going to go with Liv Morgan, unfortunately. I'm going to go with Tiffany Stratton and Trish, obviously. And I'm going to go with no result for the unsanctioned match. I mean, the Tiffany Stratton and Trish, I could see that like being some sort of screwy finish. And like, or like, you know, if there is a screwy finish, Trish and Tiffany are going to win. But maybe like Trish like betrays her in the end and she gets added to the WrestleMania main event, you know? Because otherwise, it's like, if you're going to bring Trish back for one match, just do it at WrestleMania, you know? Like, Trish and Tiffany Stratton is like 100 times more interesting than Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte, you know? But whatever, I digress. That's going to be my predictions. So take it to the bank and take it up your ass. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers!